Hey guys, Bryce Tubbs here. Today I wanted to come and really just walk you through a couple of different things. First is really the hidden secrets that I've kind of learned. And the second one is really how to schedule your day so that you can go and grow your business a lot faster without feeling as overwhelmed, even if you have a full-time job. So, my name is Bryce Tubbs, and I spent the last 8 years focused on learning everything I can and could about starting and growing an accounting slash bookkeeping business. Now, today I run both a six-figure accounting firm and I have a mentorship program that helps others start and grow their own accounting and bookkeeping business. Now, if you want some help running, starting, growing your business, and avoiding all the pitfalls and mistakes I've made along the way in my journey, you can click the link either above or below the video to book a call with me to see if I can help you out. I can't help everybody. The way we go and get results is very specific and it's very customized individual, but it's all based on the motivation level. If there's not a lot of motivation and I just don't really feel like I can help you out, I generally won't invite someone to the program. So if you feel like you're ready, you want to go and attack this thing, then click the link. Let's go do it together. Now, back to the video. Now, I've never really realized what was holding me back in my business. And today I'm just gonna kind of go and just tell some stories about like different like little things, mistakes I've made inside of my business so you can maybe avoid them. So I've been doing some deep research on my business and myself because in a lot of cases, our business is really a reflection of ourself. Like I can tell on days when I'm super tense. Generally, I'm very irritable. I kind of get a little bit shorter with my teammates, and just it's not the most pleasant. But it's on weeks when I'm more relaxed. I'm doing my stretching, my exercise, my dancing, my relaxation techniques. We're going to talk about those in a minute. I generally tend to do a lot better. So let's kind of dive into this thing. So business can be a very simple game, especially in accounting or bookkeeping business. Now, the reasons why is because you have a service that everyone needs. You have access to almost every business owner on the planet utilizing social media. And all you have to do is build a connection, show your value, and present a reasonable price. And you're generally going to get your client more times than not. Now, we all know the steps. So, why isn't everyone making multiple six figures per year? Now, it really comes down to like what's inside of our head. So, the head, the thing in between your ears, okay? It's our insecurities, our fears, our limiting beliefs, and our world view. Now, most of the time, these things will hold us back. And in a lot of cases, it's not our fault because number one, it's really hard to kind of identify what those things are. But even though it's not our fault, they still are our responsibility to address if we want to move forward and achieve the goals that we set out for our life. So, the first part about this is feelings and emotions. So, regulation is very, very, very important. Keep in mind, this is like a very rough draft document. I was so excited to kind of put this out because one of my students really asked me to like kind of go deeper into this and just really talk about this topic because it's not something I really talk a lot about. And it's just because I'm not a therapist. I'm not like trained in terms of mental health. This is just what's worked for me. So I'm just gonna kind of show some story and just tell you what I did to kind of like fix certain things. So even though we're adults, maybe you've understood how to like regulate your emotions in real life. Like if someone says something you don't like or treats you a certain way, you're not gonna snap at them or punch them or throw them off a bridge, right? But when it comes to our business, there's a lot of like emotional regulation. Like it's a new learning cycle we have to go through in order to make sure we're as effective and as efficient as possible when we're running our business. So when I first started seeing success in my bookkeeping business, I was at about 4 monthly clients, and every third week of the month, I would have this like looming cloud of fear and pressure that something would go wrong. It was like always like either over my shoulder, it was like behind. It just felt like this kind of like pressure that was like pressing down on me that something was gonna go wrong, and I didn't know exactly what. I didn't know if like I was gonna get in a car accident. I didn't know if it was just my client. It was just some kind of just weird looming cloud. And this went on for at least 6 months. And every single month, my business coach would like remind me because I had a business coach at the time. I'm one of those people where like I invested very heavily my first year in coaching and courses so that I could learn the skill set so I wouldn't, have to go back to my job a third time. But I had this fear that my clients would leave me and I would have to go back to my job. And my coach would always remind me, hey, you're doing well. It's not just going to stop. Like it's going to take a lot for all of your clients to leave you at the same time. And it was like I kind of knew that logically it would never happen, but for some reason I just couldn't shake that feeling. And it would just be heavy, just like this just heavy. Like I could literally feel it. And what I started doing was really looking back in my life to see like where was I experiencing either lack or where did this kind of fear of loss come from? And I started looking back to like when I was like in school. So like, both middle school, high school, college, graduate school. But it was kind of like for me, I when I was in school, I after about seventh grade, I would move like school districts and just different things every couple of years. And even within there, the schools were so separate and like it was like a really tall kind of school with multiple floors that I would never really have a consistent group of friends. So every about like quarter or trimester, when I was in high school, the trimesters, I would always have to go and build a new group of friends and find a new group of friends, right? Which kind of prepared me to be able to handle like a business because business is all about meeting new people and learning how to have conversation with new people. But it kind of gave me this kind of like weird like fear that things were gonna constantly be changing. And for me, it just wasn't really the best thing because I like consistency in my life and I like being able to kind of have a plan, execute on that plan, know the plan's gonna work, and then kind of adjust once a year or once, every 6 months if something goes wrong. Now, what that kind of left was instead of me to have like a sense of abundance, I was constantly like aware of this change was happening. I was kind of waiting for this negative change to kind of happen. I would have to dig myself out. So I do a lot of work on myself in terms of like, feeling more abundance and start feeling like it's okay if people were to leave and not really being a big problem. That now the key inside of this was I had to do work, but first I had to recognize like what was going on. And one activity that I have like my either students inside my mentorship program or my friends or whoever ask me like how to kind of get over this, whenever I consult people, I have them actually take out a calendar app, either on their phone or a physical calendar if you have like a actual printout of a calendar, and really look at the times, either the day of the week, the time of the day, the time of month, whatever, that you maybe had a little bit of either like panic or some sort of like weird negative emotions. Label what the emotion was, label what you're doing, label what was going on at that time, and also what time of day. Okay, so for example, were you working on like a new cleanup client that you had to clean up and there was a really tight deadline, you felt like a lot of pressure? Or was it someone that you reached out to you and like maybe they reached out to you and it was a potential client, but the fear that maybe you didn't have the skill set to handle the client work caused you to go into a tizzy. Maybe it was that, someone said they were going to sign up with you, but for whatever reason, like the deal just kind of fell through. Like, what is it? First step is to identify because you're aware of it, we can change it. Okay. So the next thing that I had to do after I was able to start identifying that stuff was every single time that I started feeling a lot of these feelings, I had to find an activity that I could do that would calm me down and kind of take me out of that fight or flight response. So a lot of times what happens is if we're going about our day and we're implementing something new that's kind of scary or emotionally draining, we're not really aware that we're going to fight or flight. We're kind of just like getting punched in the face and we're going through it. I actually asked one of my mentorship students after, so whenever you feel like panic, in your business, like maybe you have like a project you don't know how to do, or maybe there's a question about accounting and bookkeeping. Before you start getting really frantic, I guess what is your calm down activity? And she goes, well, I don't really have one. I just kind of dive into it. So like I was like, oh no, no. So I started telling her the story. So I realized for me that a lot of my feelings of like this kind of negative like anxiety would come like in the afternoon, especially if I had been outside that day. So what I started doing was I started going and doing like more grounding activities, like standing outside of my front yard and just walking around, like because I have like a little patch of like grass. And I also started walking around like my little mini neighborhood. Like we have like a big neighborhood kind of like walk and like a small one as well. So the small one takes about 10 minutes to walk around. So every day, about like 2 to 3 times per day, just to kind of relax and get back to center, I would just walk around. And that was like about spring to about fall because I live in Michigan. So like it's very hard right now because it's like winter. It is getting warmer, but we keep having like 50 degrees and like blizzard and then 50 degrees and then blizzard. So kind of trying to balance and get some consistency going there. Um, so I don't know what that activity could be for you once what it could be for you, but for me, the activities I do nowadays, like I get a massage once a week, I go to about 2 dance classes per week. I go for long car rides on the weekend. I really enjoy, taking out my car like on these like long kind of they're like back roads. They're not like they're kind of like farmland. And I just like go like straight or they have like nice little curves. I can just like cruise and just kind of relax and just like my mind just kind of goes blank and I'm just like enjoying the ride and being very present inside of the moment. Another thing I like doing is like doing like gratitude journal. Thing I like doing is like at night, I try and watch about like 1 to 2 hours of like mindless television before going to bed. I generally only get to do that about 3 to 4 nights per week because I'm going out to either a dance class or sometimes I might have like a coaching call that I do later, depending like the person's schedule. But I like to do that at least 3 to 4 days out of the week if I possibly can. Now, gratitude. Now you might notice that I said I do gratitude journaling. So whenever I'm the most successful, it's generally when I'm the most relaxed and focused on what I want to have. So whenever things don't grow as fast as I would like, then I generally tend to be more like a negative or irritated and like kind of like they call it lower vibrational energy. And I think a lot of people can kind of feel that, right? So if you watch my videos over a certain time, like you probably like feel when I'm a little bit more like relaxed, calm, tight, or stressed, right? You can kind of see that inside of the video. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. It really depends on your kind of awareness level. But I can always kind of like look and see myself when I'm kind of going into that and then just start really like I'm noticing that. So whenever I see myself like sliding into more negativity, I make sure I do like a list of things. Like I'll have like a remarkable kind of pad. It's this kind of like virtual like journal. And I'll basically just write out a bunch of stuff like lines. I'll be like, what are some things I'm thankful for? What are some things that I love? What am I grateful for? And then over time, my mood kind of improves. And that can be done every single night. Like I've had stretches where I would do it every single night, just write down a list of just everything that I like, I'm grateful for. And it actually like re-energizes me, brings me back to center, and then gets you back to that higher frequency. And then my results generally will improve again. So it's a very kind of like it's a continuous kind of thing, especially when you're in business, because business is not a sprint, right? It's more of a marathon. So it's like you need to be able to set a really hard like goal and understand like what are the reasons for like what are the positive motivations, what are the negative motivations, and then understand that it's going to take you a little bit of time. Like for me, for example, whenever we're working with students out of the mentorship program, right? We on the call that I always have them do, like to kind of like it's like an audition to see if they're a good fit for the program. But we talk about the time frames of how long it's actually going to take to achieve certain milestones inside of your business so that you get a more realistic picture of, okay, so, I know you said you wanted to go get to $200,000 a year, but you're not going to get to collect $200,000 in 37 days. Most people aren't going to do that. Like you could, but if you've never sold anything before, you're not going to be at $200,000 per year after 37 days. That's unrealistic, right? For most people. Now, in some cases, it might not be unrealistic if you've ran $1 million business in the past and you're going to go grow really quickly overnight, right? But all to say is really knowing that what you're going after is going to take a little bit of work. It's going to take a little bit of time, just consistency. Because again, it is a very simple business. The steps are very simple. It's just learning how to deal with yourself, how to manage yourself that really makes, especially when you start working for yourself full time. So let's kind of talk about the daily schedule. And like one of the students at our mentorship program, she was basically asking about this. And like last week, no, not last week. I think it was on Monday at about 11:49 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. She actually got a client who signed on for $2,000 per month. So now she's been able to kind of reduce the hours that she's working on her job to go a little more like on a part-time basis. Now that her overall revenue is about $3,500 per month. So the main question before she got the client, which she asked, I think like on like Friday of last week, was how to balance her day to get everything done. Now, this is actually one of the biggest things that I see people have struggling. If they have like $1,500 a month or $2,000 a month, but they just seem to be stuck at that level and never really seems to be growing. It's generally because of calendar management and prioritization and time blocking. It's how you manage your time. So for me, my daily schedules are more about prioritization of activities and removal of activities that don't really serve me at the moment in time. So if you have a full-time job, like you might not have a huge amount of time to do everything in your day. So rather than me just tell you like, okay, so at 6 a.m. in the morning, do this, at 12 a.m. in the afternoon, do this, at 3 p.m. I'm just going to give you an order of operations that has worked for me, both when I was working and when I've been doing this, full time and when I had, two businesses to run. So the first thing that I like to do is always wake up about 30 minutes to an hour before I had to either get ready for work. Excuse me. Man, that was weird. Wow, he's one. So the first thing I did was wake about 30 minutes to an hour before I actually had to get ready for work. Now, I used an automated tool to manage my social media outreach. So all I had to do was just really just turn on the tools for the daily campaign. So like I would set up the campaign like once a month, just make sure I had the right leads and the right targeting in place. Then I'd run the automation so I'd be able to start building a lot of connections for me. And then what I would do is after I've hit start for the day, I would actually go and do my partnership research and outreach. Now, basically, what that would entail is like looking, okay, so who are the people in my niche that who are they looking up to? Like, who would they be? Is it a CPA? Is it a lawyer? Is it a financial advisor? Is it someone who owns like a Facebook group? And I would just start looking at it. And again, so just different things. So fractional CFOs are a good one if you're a bookkeeper, mastermind group leaders, people who own like Facebook groups and niches that I was interested in. And I love partnerships so much. I even like wrote a book about how to create partnerships that give you six figures worth of clients each year. And the reason why I really like partnerships is because like it makes it easier for you to grow your business because you can go and get connected to someone who owns like a 10 million, $20 million business just from the right partnership versus if you're going more out and finding yourself, there's that added kind of time frame of having to go build someone's trust. And the more money that someone's making, the more they have to lose. So the harder it is to kind of gain their trust. So if you have a partner, it just circumvents that whole kind of like time frame. Now, if you want to go and get that book that walks you through how to go and get your first or next six-figure partnership, by the time you finish reading the book, go ahead and type down 6FP book, and I will send you the link to go purchase it. Generally, it's going to sell anywhere between about $15 to about $20, but I'm kind of running like a beta launch on the book right now to anyone who either watches my YouTube channel or who's inside of like my Facebook group or my LinkedIn profile. So I'm running like a special on it. So it's like $4.99 until I don't know exactly. I think like either a month or 2 months from now after I get like some more feedback about it, and I just see more testimonials from the book, I'm probably gonna raise that price up to at least like anywhere between like 15 like $20. So if you want it while it's still $4.99, which is like less than the cost of like a cup of coffee, then go ahead and type that inside the comments, 6FP book. I'll be sure to give it to you. Now, if you notice, the reason why I'm focusing on marketing activities first is because it made sure that the marketing work would actually get done. So when I was first starting out, like I was really resistant about doing marketing and sales because I wasn't really good at it. So generally for me, whatever I'm good at in life, I generally like to do a lot of. Whatever I'm bad at, I generally try and I find like a million excuses not to do it. So at that point in my career, I was really feeling like if I was reaching out or talking or asking for a partnership, I was going to be bothering people. So it was really hard for me to kind of get over that and reach. It was actually a whole, probably about a 6 month period where I didn't message any new people because I was just so worried that like they're gonna feel like I'm like asking for too much or I wasn't providing value to them. I just didn't do it. So, but at the same time, I'd actually purchased a number of like coaching programs and courses that said like that marketing my business like the most important thing. So I ended up just forcing myself to kind of do it and get good at it. And that's why I'm able to kind of do the skill set today. And like whenever I coach someone, I can help them grow their business a lot faster because there's so much nuance that I had to like learn in this game in order to be able to teach it to other people. Yeah. So I would actually go to work. So after I've done the marketing for the day, I would generally go to work. And another perk of doing outreach in the morning is that people are going to reply to you throughout your work day. So you can respond to messages throughout your work day and schedule appointments at your convenience. So basically what it look like is like if I was in between a meeting or if I got to work and somebody would like send me a message, I would literally have like LinkedIn and Facebook Messenger on my phone. So it automatically would pop up and say, oh, you got a new message, or I could read the message right then and there. Then I could respond and reply whenever I would have like free time. And then I would schedule the consultation calls for either like my lunch break or after work. Now, one key thing is I was really afraid at first that business owners would not want to meet with me if I asked to meet after work hours. So like after like 6 p.m., like work hours, right? To my surprise, there are certain industries like construction, solar, more people who are like roofing, like people who are working like in the field or job sites during the daytime. Like they generally prefer to work after hours. That's when they generally will take care of their like admin stuff. They take care of their admin stuff like at the outskirts of the day. So either in the morning or in the evenings or after like whatever they come back from the field. Now, another trick that I learned is that was kind of it's called manipulating time zones. So what that basically means is that if for me, for example, I live in Eastern Standard Time. Now, if I noticed that there was a particular either niche or a group of business owners that didn't like meeting after hours, I would actually connect with business owners that were in a later time zone, like Mountain Time or Pacific Time. That way, it would be after work hours for me, so at 6 p.m. So after my day was over, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., but it'd still be during like regular work hours for them. So 6 p.m. Eastern is generally 3 p.m. Pacific or 4 p.m. Mountain Time, which is during like the second half of their day. So even though it wasn't like 12 o'clock, it was still like at a really relatively easy time for them to agree to a meeting. And after that, after I did like my marketing, then my sales, then I would do any client work that I had left. Now, in the beginning, I had more time to do marketing and sales because I didn't really have many clients. I didn't have much work. That's generally the case is like when you're starting, you have a lot more time to do that. And as you start getting more clients, your time to do marketing kind of goes down to a certain degree. Now, as my schedule got more filled with client work, the amount of time I had to spend on marketing went down, but the order of operations stayed the same. It's still marketing first, sales, and then client work. Even if marketing is only like 5 minutes, or I only can talk to one potential partner, or only do one potential partner meeting, or if I, only can do one consultation call a day because I'm just so filled up, right? It's still in that order because I have to make sure that even when my business is like successful, I'm still bringing new blood into the machine. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is that when they are running their business and they start finding out of success, or they start like their monthly revenue goal and close to monthly revenue goal, they take their foot off the gas, and it ends up taking them a lot longer to go and reach that goal. Because in business, it's all about momentum. Once you start finding a way to get clients, you should probably put your foot down on the gas, because you never know when you're either going to like it's going to not be someone's focus, it's going to be bad timing. So you always want to take advantage of today. Whenever you have time now, take advantage of now, because tomorrow is not promised to us, and anything can happen inside the future. Like a lot of people think, even when like starting the business, they think like tomorrow, 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 tomorrow. And it's funny, it's like time is a very kind of weird thing because you always have more of it until you don't. And it's very easy for us to say like next tomorrow, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. Pretty soon you look back and 5 years are gone and you haven't really made any change. Like for me, for example, like the kind of weird thing about owning like an account, both an accounting business and a coaching business, is at least in the coaching business time, I see people's lives it's like a very like large collage of people's lives and like patterns between what makes people successful versus what causes people to stay in the same exact place. And with 8 years in business, like there've been a lot of people that have either, started a business, but either didn't hire a coach, or they, kind of gave up, or maybe they like tried it for 1 month and they, stopped, and they got motivated for 3 months and they kind of stopped. And you can just see just the tremendous growth like in my thing, because I was very, very consistent with everything, versus some people it's like starting and stopping, they never really made much progress, right? So it's just kind of interesting to see. It's like the one thing that I've noticed is like people who get results, they move now, they move fast, they move decisively. And a lot of people, like, they add time to a decision if they don't know if it's the right decision, which is actually the wrong thing to do, because oftentimes our brain, just going back to like feelings and emotion, our brain is trained to kind of keep us in the same place, like homeostasis. That's like in a very consistent kind of like state of being where everything is like safe, right? But oftentimes the way we feel safe is more of an illusion, because like if you lose your job, you get laid off, the economy goes and there's like a recession, or some kind of like viral infection kind of goes around the entire United States or the entire world and shuts it down, right? Then you're no longer safe, and now your body's like panicking. See, that's the trap. So instead, if you ever start feeling fear, you generally move forward towards the same thing. For example, I wanted to brush up on the way I write content recently. So I bought a course. It was like $5,800. I like spent the money. It was like a 45-minute call, just talk to the person. Like, oh, okay, this might work, right? And it's like, did I have to think about it? No. Did I have to talk to somebody else? No. Did I have to go back to no? It's just, dude, let's just try it out and let's go. The reason why is because I've kind of built up a trust in myself, and I think I've been like this ever since I started getting more successful. It's just like, okay, this thing might work, it might not work. Is it going to be a degree of work? So if it doesn't work to give me the full result that I need, am I going to at least be moving in the right direction to kind of get to my goal? So this course, for example, it kind of helped. It kind of didn't. It got my mind thinking in the right spots, like tracking metrics when it comes to like writing and like learning different things. But then I actually got another writing course more recently, and it was like 3 grand. It was a little bit of a different kind of style of writing, and I immediately got results from it. So it's just like, some people are like, well, you spent $5,800 on the other course. Like, wow, that was a mistake. No, it just got me focused on the right thing I needed to go spend two, and then I made the money back on both ends, right? And that's whether you're making like $0 a month right now in your business, or whether you're making $100 million per month in your business, right? The amount of time that it takes for you to make a decision does not change whether something is right or wrong. So you should start learning to trust your ambition and trust yourself to be able to put yourself in the right situation to go and actually get the results you want. And if you just keep investing in yourself over a long enough time period, it's almost like being the casino, right? The reason why people generally tend to lose in casinos, and regardless of how you feel about casinos and feel about gambling, the house has a slight advantage, and it's the odds are generally in their favor on most games. There's some games where it might not be, but even then it can be kind of skewed in their favor. So they know that even if they lose one or two hands to one of their customers over a long enough time horizon of the right choices, the right decisions, and the right odds, they are going to come out on top. And they're just utilizing time not as a way to postpone making a decision or postpone the kind of opportunity of the game. They're actually utilizing time to advantage to play more games than everybody else. And since they know the odds are in their favor because they're constantly getting new skills, they're constantly learning new things, they're constantly getting better quality dealers, the odds are just going further and further in their favor. So I know for me, for example, every single course that I either buy or utilize or pay for, it gets my base level of skill that much higher. So even if I buy a course that's not the best, I know over a 3-year period, a 5-year period, a 10-year period, that thing adds up to my goal and makes it easier for me to go make 7 figures every single year. And that's the secret when we talk about the internal game that no one thinks about, right? So, kind of going back to what we're talking about, one reason why I focus so heavily on partnerships and building those partnerships because I'm always thinking in terms of assets. When I first started my business, I was thinking about hustle. How many new business owners can I go meet? Where do I have to go find one business owner? How do I go? But nowadays, as I kind of get more mature inside of my understanding of, I'm looking to create assets. What is one unit of time? What can I put one unit of time into that's going to keep paying me month after month, day after day, week after week, year after year? Something I can set and something I can forget. Now, nothing is 100% fully automated in life. Like you do have to look at it or at least have your VA or somebody look at it. But what are the things that are the closest to being like that I can implement and use at all times? And then, even though it might not be fully automated, how long can I automate that process while without it breaking down without me? And the longer I can do that, the easier it is for me to grow my business long term, day after day, week after week, month after month. And once I started doing that, my income started doubling and started tripling, right? It's all because I'm just able to really set something up, put it out there, and then it keeps bringing me results again and again. So one asset I have is my LinkedIn profile. Another asset I have is this YouTube channel. Another asset I have is my Facebook group. I have a second Facebook group. The one's at like 39,000 members, other one's like at 57,000 members, right? I have an email list. I also have partnerships of people in my local area who send me consultation calls. I have a secondary YouTube channel that's all about like QuickBooks training and gets people like business owners who are interested in like, learning about QuickBooks to learn more. Then they want to book a call. And then oftentimes, like if they do a little bit of QuickBooks training, some of them actually turn into monthly clients. And that's kind of one way we talk about teaching our students on the program. Another asset I have is students that are successful. They tell other people about me and other people want my help, right? But it wasn't until I started thinking about that business got tremendously easier. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Yes. And then another reason why I like to do my client work, like right now I have a team, so I don't really do much accounting and bookkeeping work, to be honest with you. It's like my team is basically outsourced all of it. Um, Back when I was doing it, I would focus on that work as the last part of the day because I could focus more deeply on it. So when I was trying to fit it in throughout the day, I was feeling like really scattered. So I'd be like, sometimes I'd reply to a message and I would try and do some accounting work, and then I would like have a consultation call fill in, and then I would go to like a network event. Like everything was so randomized that it was really hard for me to get any deep work into it. And I was feeling very, very overwhelmed. But when I can sit, for 2, 4 hours each night or just 2, 4 hours straight and just do the work, right? I could choose to work for as long as I shoot as I wanted, but I wouldn't have this like breaks from my deep thought. And in some cases, you can just save your client work for the weekend. So if your week is tremendously crazy. Like you work 40, 50 hours, you have kids, you can always just do your accounting work out on the weekend, or you can subcontract out your work to like a subcontractor. So you're building your income to a point to where eventually you can leave your job. And then if you want to keep the subcontractor, you can, or you can just say to the subcontractor, I'm taking all the work back in-house, and now your income just shot up and you don't have like as much like stress or pressure when you leave your job. But that's just, it depends on someone's thing. I prefer to do my client work in the evening, because I liked working during the week and then taking the weekend off, just to kind of like recharge, reflect, and just kind of do stuff. But that's just my personal preference. Some people like working the weekends, but they don't like working after like 5 o'clock during the week. So it just depends on you and kind of what you're trying to do. Now, of course, if you are working a job and you figure out how to grow your income, you're generally going to like 1 to 3 extra capacity once you cut down your hours or once you leave your job, because now you'll be able to take on more clients, handle more work, and even grow your revenue even further. Hopefully you enjoy this video. Now, also, if you want some help starting or growing your business, your accounting and bookkeeping business, and you want to avoid all the pitfalls and mistakes that I've made along my journey, click the link either above or below the video to see if I can help you out. Okay. So on that column, basically look at like, where are you right now? Where do you want to go? And if I think I can help you out, I'm just going to outline like what the process of us working together would look like. And then we're going to talk time frames, what it's going to take, everything that's involved. And then if it makes sense for both parties involved, I can offer you an invitation to join. We can get you signed up right then and there. And we can take care of the onboarding and be off to the races. If that's you, I'd love to see you on the call. If you're not quite ready yet, that's a-okay too. I'll see you on another video inside the channel. Take it easy. Talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day.